Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Producer Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with our returning guest, Keith Champagne. We're here to break down Daybreak issue 1 through 3 and everything in between. Keith, welcome to the stream, man. How have you been since you last been on?
Really well, Cody. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, it's always a blast getting a chance to chat. We've had you on the show a handful of times now. 210, 280, and now 356. It's almost seeming like we're following every 70 interviews we get you back on.
All right. So what is this one?
365.
So let me do some math. 365, 70, 435. I'll see you then.
Yeah, we'll have to plan ahead. So are we gonna see Daybreak issue 4 by then, or?
I don't think it's likely that we'll see Daybreak issue 4 by then. Issue 4 is double size. It's going to be the big 44-page conclusion.
Ooh.
So we're going to do it as one campaign instead of two separate, half-size issues. So it's going to take a little longer to produce, but I think by the end of the year is our goal, is to get the final story out there and complete this book.
Let's go. Let's make it happen. So for everyone tuning in, I mean, we've had Keith on for Daybreak issue 2, and I had the chance to read this, and it was amazing. But we also had you on for the Switch, Electricia, and I got to ask you, if we add an end to this, that makes Electrician, right? Am I wrong? Is that how you guys came up with the name?
Yeah, it's a little play on words. My mom's name is Patricia. And we created that book and that character. My mom was going through her cancer year, and so I wanted to kind of name a character after her. So it was an easy way to combine her name with an electrical powered hero, or villain in this case. And so I homage my mom, and also it fit. But yeah, it's very close to Electrician. If you ever Google Electrician, you're going to get a lot of electricians that come up.
I think it was after the interview when I was doing post-production stuff, and I just sat there and I was like, I can't believe I didn't put that together when we first started talking. Speaking of moms, though, we have Mama Geekly stopping in over on Facebook saying, hey there, love the cover. Yes, we have the gorgeous cover. I think it's your A cover with Dark Matter and Daybreak on it, the green one.
Yeah, that's for number 3. That's the A cover by the artist Stefan.
Yes, absolutely gorgeous cover there. So what's been up since you last been on with the Switch? I mean, I think last we talked, you also went to a con not too long ago.
Yeah, just this past weekend, I was in Vermont for a sci-fi and fantasy show. Luckily, the Stranger Things books that I've done for Dark Horse have a lot of broad appeal to the general public. So they're always a big hit at shows, and so often saved my weekend financially. So yeah, but that's always fun.
It has to be pretty. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna say it has to be pretty awesome to have worked on a comic and then have the series coming out on Netflix too, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a boon. I know last summer the Stranger Things project that I wrote came out, because before that I had only been the artist or the inker on several of them. Then the one that I wrote came out, and I got 3 or 4 messages from comic shops. Hey, we want to fly you out this weekend. And it was, my comic came out at the same time as the second half of season 4. Mm-hmm. I think it came out, so it was perfectly timed with the show, and it made me feel like a superstar when I went out to do a signing at their shop.
That is so cool, though, to have that opportunity. Man, that's remarkable. But let's get back to what we're here to talk about, and that is Daybreak. Daybreak is a really awesome character. I mean, she has one hell of a superpower. I mean, can we talk a little bit about what her abilities are?
Yeah, absolutely, sure. Daybreak is the easy explanation for her powers is that she is, much like Superman, she's solar powered. It goes a little deeper than that, in that she actually is made of light, or she's, not to spoil too much in issue 3, but issue 3 starts 4 million years in the past. And we kind of meet Daybreak and Dark Matter as parents.
Ooh.
And in a galaxy far, far away. And we see just a glimpse of their history and origin, and how they started out as completely, Dark Matter, the villain, was composed completely of, a ball of dark matter. Daybreak composed completely of a ball of pure light. And as they arrive on Earth, they adapt.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of hybrid biological energy beings, both of them, but complete opposites. One completely evil, the other one completely good. Complete light, complete dark. And the way that they bounce off each other, the way that they're connected to one another, is a big part of the story going forward. Issue 3 is really a deep dive into their relationship and their dynamic and the way that they can't stand each other, but they also are a part of each other. So hopefully people have as much fun reading that issue as I did writing it, because it was really fun for me to finally get into the meat of that relationship.
I really love the parallels there too. I mean, that is some interesting things. Another thing that was really interesting was the beginning of issue 2. We had these interesting villains, the Duke of Doom, Green Skull. They're all hanging out and getting ready to do a little bit of blow. I mean, these villains on this earth like to party, it seems.
Why shouldn't villains do villainy things, like villainous things? Not that doing coke is necessarily villainous, but would they drink apple cider? Probably not. Maybe they would. The funny thing about that scene is when I wrote the script to issue number 2, there were no supervillains in the beginning of that script. I had Daybreak coming in to save 4 billionaires. It was the president of China and like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and who was it? Oh, and Jeff Bezos were the 4 that were the original, foursome that this supervillain Snow comes to threaten. And I got a text message from the artist like, "Yeah, I don't want to draw these stupid billionaires. I hate these guys. I'm gonna do something else." And I was like, "Okay, just do whatever makes you happy, bro." And so all the supervillains were just analogs created by him. Obviously, it's like the Red Skull, it's Doctor Doom, it's Ra's al Ghul is another one that it's based on. And it took me a hot minute when I got those pages back to try to figure out how to keep that scene what it was, but also tie it back into the book in a way. And it gave me the idea to do like these are visitors from a different Earth. And now that Dark Matter in this universe has been imprisoned, it's wide open for them to come in and exploit our world. So they're like a little sightseeing tour, a little like, this is the kind of bullshit we can get up to here now. And turns out they couldn't get up to any bullshit.
Oh God, I loved how fast they got smacked down. We had Snow coming in, who is radioactive cocaine, and he just like smacks them all down so fast. And he's pretty much like, you guys think you can take this over? Like, I took you out. Just imagine what Doc is going to do to you. And I come with a message, and then we see Daybreak and Snow get in a fight. Snow's an interesting character in himself, though. You said he comes from a different universe, from your own comic series from the Switch, correct?
Yeah, Switch is Snow is actually a supervillain. He originated in the Switch graphic novel, sort of a side character, like not one of the main characters, but more texture in the story. His little backstory, which we didn't really go into in either one of these appearances, is he was a nuclear engineer and was doing a lot of blow on the job, and he caused a meltdown of this nuclear reactor, which destroyed, like a city or whatever. Like, my cat is trying to claw through my door over there. But he ended up, like, he killed the whole, area that he was in, but he survived and was transformed into radioactive cocaine. And so now he's much like the Sandman in that, except instead of being made of sand, he's made of cocaine. He has a little army.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
He has his snow angels were his henchmen.
Oh, I love that.
And he, he just gets out and wreaks some havoc.
I love that. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the Snow Angels is perfect. That is such a perfect play. And I also love like how you really capitalize on the humor in this too. They made jokes about it being like Earth 240, the multiverse, like different Earth, like we always get with like the MCU, the little joke on there. Even like his one-liner, like how all these superheroes always have impactful one-liners. His was like snort my dick. And like Daybreak was like, that's so cringe. Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
yeah, I think when I write these books, I try to make myself laugh a little bit, or I'm trying to write a book that I would really enjoy reading. Hopefully, it has a little humor and some good action and some character beats that make you feel for these guys. The whole ball of wax.
I think you really did a great job too with Daybreak. We were talking backstage about this, like how many times she saved the Earth, and like how there's still not trust with her, with these people on this planet. I felt like that's something we really don't get to see in comics a lot, where the superhero does save the world often, but they're so powerful that they still make the wrong people nervous.
Yeah, I think it's just it's texture in the story. It's another layer. In issue 1, we sort of meet these characters, and I want them to feel very familiar and almost like, this is a book that feels like something I've read before. Like I'm comfortable in this world. And then you start to peel back the onion in the different issues and add layers of texture and say, oh, wait a minute, this is different. This has a different angle I haven't seen before, or it hasn't really been explored. Daybreak and Dark Matter, they're by far the 2 most powerful characters in this world. But they're both aliens, and even though a Daybreak has been around a long time, I would have to think that the way the world is run, there would be an oversight committee for her, or someone to watch out for her, a watchdog, which is the character of the Machine in this book, who also is a close friend of Daybreak's. They love each other, but the bottom line for her is she has to keep an eye on Daybreak and make sure everything's on the up and up. It's similar, I guess, to The Mighty in the way, the book that I wrote with Pete Tomasi, in that there was one superhero in that world, and there was a whole support organization that was dedicated to just like following him around, cleaning up his crime scenes, making sure if there are victims that they were who they, their identities said they were, just to keep checks and balances of these characters, I guess, keep them on the up and up.
Another interesting thing about Daybreak is, like, during her fight with Snow, she is able to take a couple kilos of that radioactive blow. Like, how is she not able to like OD at that point? Like, she is one hell of a partier.
Yeah, she could definitely drink you under the table and never feel it. No, she's just immune. She's immune to everything. She's the most powerful character in the world. And I don't think it's spoiling anything at this point to say that, Daybreak has cancer, which is a mystery of how she could have caught, or developed cancer when she's immune to everything else. And that's something that we explain and talk about in issue 3 also. We kind of get to the bottom of where that came from. And the point of using Snow in that scene and showing that she's immune to all these drugs was to establish that she would never qualify or be chemotherapy would be useless with her. There's no way that she could survive this with typical modern medicine.
And that becomes very... Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, so he's a fun villain, Snow is, but also serves a larger point in the story.
Yeah, and that becomes very problematic when you can't be cured by traditional means, right? Like, cancer slowly killing you, and whatever could save you, you're not able to even benefit from.
No, and that forces her hand. I mean, the only choice that she has is to break Dark Matter out of jail. Like, he's the only person, the only being that's smart enough that could possibly help her. And he was the one who knew that she was sick before even she did. So he has more information than she even knows about her condition.
So I think right now, let's go ahead and head over to the Kickstarter, pull up some of these tiers, and see what all the hype is about. And this camp, I love this Kickstarter. It looks very clean and slick, man. I love these the animated covers too.
I'm just trying to find ways. We do 4 campaigns a year through New Pain, and just trying to find ways to make them look visually interesting, and also not do the same thing every time. So yeah, I like these. I don't know if you say GIF or GIF. I say GIF.
That's why I said animated, because I didn't know either. I was like, I don't want to mispronounce it online, so
I think it's GIF myself.
I do too. So we're gonna go with GIF. So guys, everyone, we are looking at Daybreak 1 through 3, a new 28-page issue. Daybreak turns to her arch rival Dark Matter in an attempt to save her own life, plus catch up on issues 1 and 2. Currently at $3,346 of a $4,400 goal, with 139 backers and 23 days left to go. Excuse me. We have Mama Geekly saying the covers are flipping awesome. Yes, these are gorgeous colors.
Oh, thank you.
Man, I love these designs so much. So who are some of the artists that worked on these?
So let's just wait a second for it to rotate back to the green one, and we'll start from there. So that one there is, wow, it's so fast.
It goes pretty fast.
So the green one is by the series artist Stefan, and I inked it. Sometimes I ink usually a handful of pages every issue just to help the production process along.
Hmm.
The swimsuit one is that's our first retailer cover, except it's actually drawn by the retailer. So that's a comic shop here in Connecticut where I live called Wonderland Comics, and the owner of the shop, his wife drew the cover.
Oh, that's
And,
really cool.
So really cool. Yeah, we'll do it. So I got it colored up for her and everything, and it came out pretty nice. This one here, the homage cover to Fantastic Four, that's by Joe St. Pierre and me and a colorist named Dash Martin. And then the other one of the light or the energy person standing there, that's me. That's my pencils and inks.
Wow.
And I was kind of a last minute fill-in. Bart Sears was supposed to do a cover for me, and then couldn't do it at the last minute. So I just said, "Fuck it, I'll just do one."
Man, it's gorgeous to see your work in action too. You are a man of many talents, dude. I got to give you props, Keith.
Oh, I don't know about that. I find the more you can do, the more ways you can make money in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good to do as much as possible.
So let's go ahead and scroll through some of these interiors. So we have Daybreak and Doc Matter right here kind of chatting, and looks like one interesting interaction. I love her suit so much too. The cutout right here with the light emanating, the cape. These two, this is a gorgeous character model. Yeah,
that's all the artist of the series. Like, even I never gave him any descriptions or anything of what I wanted the characters to look like. I was just like, one's a male, one's a female, and so he completely designed, Daybreak's costume, her, her race, her ethnicity, whatever. It's all him. The chest portals were something that I did mention. They both needed to have matching chest portals, and I like the fact that Doc Matter, when he's not in his costume, he's so wimpy.
Yeah.
But you put on the costume and suddenly he's a supervillain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a cool juxtaposition. But yeah, that's the cliffhanger page to issue 2, where she breaks him out of jail, and then issue 3, all kinds of hijinks between them occur.
So issue 2 was action packed. I mean, what are we going to see happen in issue 3 without spoiling anything?
Yeah, it's hard to really talk about too much without spoiling it, but it takes place, it's almost like a two-person play, I guess, except mm-hmm. It has 3 people. It has the gorilla on the moon, the janitor gorilla, the custodian, I call him. But most of it takes place in Doc Matter's lair on the moon, and well, you can see with these preview pages here, we're starting 4 million years ago in the past, and we get to meet Daybreak and Doc Matter's parents, and we see them in their nascent forms, and then they're shipped off together. And
are these their chest portals right here? I'm not trying to interrupt, but
yeah, the chest portals originally were car seats, I guess, something along those lines, where they protected them when they were just little balls of energy.
Oh, that's so cool.
For their trip to Earth, but they also have a larger purpose, and which we kind of see develop in the book. This one also flashes back to when they're kids, about 12, 13 years old apiece, and you can already see how Doc Matter is something wrong with him, and Daybreak is more the stable, positive force, mm-hmm. and they're starting to diverge on their different paths of good and villainy.
I love that. I love that throwback. That's awesome. How you intertwined it like that, man. Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, I love this. I love the colors on the spread here that Stefan did. It's so weird. And he was like, "Do you think this works?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, it's very alien. It's perfect for what we need here." There, who knows what's going on with these bursts of color, except it looks cool, and that's all that mattered here.
I mean, dude, 4 million years ago, this is almost like, it feels like a big bang kind of, with the energy emitting from it.
Yeah, if you scroll down to this next page too, there's a big clue on this page here with it, so I love, I can't say I love it, it sounds pretentious, but the fact that the dark energy being is crying pure light, and then the light being is crying dark energy, I think is another hint of the way that Daybreak and Doc Matter are connected. And then in this third panel, if you look closely, you see there's a monster there that's devouring their planet. and that also is going to be a bigger plot thread coming up and it will probably talk about it a little bit in the double-sized finale, but it's very much meant to be explored in the second series that we're hoping to do.
This is just so gorgeous too. The way everything like goes into like the bleeds, like there it's like no panel. It's like the whole thing is just like one big splash page with like smaller panels in it. Like this is so just mind blowing right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's all Stefan. He's really a great talent. Like I got really lucky. You know, Stefan drew a series that I wrote called Silver Streak for Lev Gleason Presents or Lev Gleason Comic House. And I love the storytelling more than anything. Like he really does a great job interpreting my scripts. So when I came up with Daybreak, I contacted him and he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'd be happy to do it." So he's a very easy to work with, like very smart, and he does everything. He's a great artist, great colorist. I'd like to see him actually color other people's art and see what that would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I love a lot of what he does with his color choices and the way he models so much of these characters in the color.
So we see Dawn right here too?
Yeah, that's Dawn Rizen, Rizen. That's Daybreak's best friend / government handler. And she and Daybreak are currently at odds. Daybreak's kind of going rogue here to save her own life.
I love the last name too, Dawn Rizen. That's like the perfect play on words, man.
This will be, that's the nude cover for this issue that Tom Neen is doing. We're going to unveil that on Wednesday this week, the final version of that cover.
Are you going to, on Instagram, updates on Kickstarter? Like, where can people expect to find that?
Yeah, I think it'll be on the New Pain Instagram. It'll be on Twitter, and we'll also unveil it in the updates to the backers. We'll let them see we'll keep the naughty bits blurred out, but they'll get to see like the full color job, and it's really fun looking. Tom's another one that does everything well, and I especially love his painting and his color work. So when he gets a chance to flex those skills in a comic project, it's always like, it's fun for me because I'm such a fan of what he does.
We got Captain B-Dub over on Twitch stopping in to say, "Hey, welcome to the stream, B-Dub. How you doing?" And then right here is a look at some of the characters. So we have an ultimate foe that's yet to be revealed. So that's interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, if people watch the video for this campaign, I finally name the character, the ultimate foe, which is at the very end of the video.
So the dead chimps?
Yeah, they're a big part of #1, and this is our mystery villain.
Sunset
coming up.
Let's go. Okay, all right. So we're gonna maybe see another series potentially spin off of this one.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do these books forever. Like I have so many Daybreak stories in my head now that I've developed over the course of just writing this one, and I'd love to do, more with the custodian, the gorilla janitor, who there's a lot more to him than meets the eye, which we'll see in the big double-sized finale. Like there's a lot going on with that character. He's not necessarily he is very chill and very sort of nonplussed by everything, but he has a history to him that, people aren't going to really suspect. And I'd love to do like a Doc Matter one shot. And one thing that we are doing next year, it'll be the next appearance of Daybreak after this series, is we're going to do a Switch Daybreak crossover with Electricia from the Switch and Daybreak, sort of combining into one adventure together.
Ooh, so solar and electricity. That seems like an interesting combination.
Yeah, and I teased it out to some Kickstarter backers today to let them know that Switch books were shipping. And what I told them was, 2 characters are going to fall in love in this crossover, and they definitely should not ever fall in love. Like there's going to be a lot of wacky things happening.
I can't wait to check it out. But guys, before we get to that, let's go ahead and dive into some of the rewards here. So right off the rip, we have pledge 5 or more, you get Daybreak issue 3 digitally. So an awesome price for the PDF here. At 10 or more, you get the issue 3 digital deluxe. So they're going to have some extra goodies in this one?
Yeah, the digital deluxe is the full issue digitally, and then also the script. And because I lettered this book myself, it changes so much from the script to the actual final page. Like I'm rewriting dialogue and tweaking dialogue constantly, so that sometimes what a scene originally was in the script, there's almost nothing in common with what it appears to be, or the final appearance of it in the book.
So is that like a catch-22 for you, like being the writer and the letterer? Like, do you maybe you're like, I should stop, but I just want to keep going to make it perfect?
No, I love it. I love the ability to keep thinking of new ideas to the last possible second. You know, I always know what it needs to be. Like, it can't go too far afield. It still has to, you know, every scene is telling a point of the story. But it's great to have the freedom to continue to make it better and better as I go. And to the point now where the projects that I write for other publishers and things, I tell them, like, I'll do it, but I'm going to letter it myself because I don't want to work that other way anymore.
Is it almost like once you start, you can't stop? Like a whole new like path opens up for you once you start doing the writing and lettering yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, you know, being a writer, being a letterer has definitely made me a better writer. It's made me a lot more conscious of the amount of dialogue that I use, more conscious of the way the artist composes the page. You know, when you're trying to find room for the word balloons and things without covering up too much of the art. Made me look in the mirror and say, dude, you don't need to use every word in the dictionary, every word balloon. Like, it's okay to cut it back a little bit here and there. It's better for the book. So it sharpened my dialogue quite a bit, and my self-editing skills quite a bit. And I also just enjoy the act of lettering. I find it very, very zen. It's very relaxing for me. And I've lettered like, I think 4 or 5 other projects now that I haven't written just because I like doing it. It's just another way to make money now.
Oh, that is awesome. So we have, after this, pledge 10 or more, you get a copy of Daybreak issue 3 physical. And then that's that cover B for that retail.
Yeah.
That's so cool that you had a comic shop like get that and then design it too. I mean, I don't think I've ever really heard of that before.
We're always setting the trends over here. And actually, I really love that cover. I especially love the color job on that cover. The cover's by a guy, I can't ever pronounce his name, but it's Rich Staunch, I think is how he pronounces it. And he really did a great job on the color to flesh out the figure work and add the whole background to it. So I'm very fond of that cover.
We also have cover A at $10. You can
get that's the main cover with Stefan.
Then you can get the digital catch-up at $15. So an awesome price there for 1, 2, and 3. 3 comics for $15. I mean, dude, you have some outstanding prices on these tiers. That cover C at $15 as well. So this gorgeous cover right up here. And you said this was an homage to what cover?
Is it Fantastic Four 218 or something like that? It's the first appearance of Nova by John Byrne. And so, you know, the same basic composition for the Fantastic Four cover where the character in the middle is Nova, but it's Galactus is the end behind her. So it was just, you know, finding old covers that I love and saying, why don't we do something like this? And then Joe St. Pierre, my buddy Joe, you know, was nice enough to contribute that to the campaign. He's such a gentleman and such a sweetheart.
I love this, the corner box too, right here of her kind of just like, it looks like maybe falling.
Yep, she's fallen. You'll see why.
So we have Daybreak issue 3 cover D at $15 as well, and that's that other gorgeous cover. I don't know if we have a large up example of that or not. Go ahead and scroll.
It's on the GIF up there.
Yeah.
It might be down below. At least the original art is. But that's by that crappy champagne guy. So
I think it looks gorgeous, man. I think this is going to be the one that I get. I love seeing your original work, man.
No, thank you, dude. I don't really enjoy drawing, so I do it grudgingly when I have to. I'm glad you like it.
We have the nude cover at 20 or more. So this awesome cover right here, which we'll get a zoom in right there. Outstanding prices on this too. I mean, I'm surprised it's so cheap.
Well, I mean, I could make it more expensive, I guess. I don't know.
Raise it up a few bucks. And then we have the Daybreak and the Bold Digital at $20. So wait, there's a Batman character in this?
Yeah, this is a weird attempt maybe at a reward because I was going through some files not too long ago and I found a couple of issues of the Batman Raven the Bold that I wrote for DC. And they never used the scripts. You know, and so I was like, well, maybe someone out there might be interested in reading these 2 unpublished Batman scripts.
Oh wow, that's
So I
cool.
just bundle it up with the Daybreak digital reward. So if someone wants it, it's there. If they don't, it's just a shot in the dark. Let's see.
Mm-hmm. We'll kind of scroll through some of these other tiers as well. If you have any favorites, feel free to pick them out. Look, oh, we got some trading cards. It looks like right here for 25.
Yeah, we did a set of 6 trading cards this issue. We did some trading cards for the Switch as a stretch goal, and I really just loved the way they looked. Once again, Rob Miller designed the trading cards as well as the video, and he's just great at what he does. So
For
I asked him to do the Daybreak cards too, and he banged out some great ones too.
for eagle-eyed viewers out there, you might see a certain character design of a new villain that was mentioned earlier too. That looks like an awesome design. I can't wait to see more from this.
Yeah, that's our little sunset right there. I guess her first appearance officially is going to be in trading card form. So any completists out there that want their first appearance, that's your reward tier, I guess.
We have at 40 or more the New Pain Universe Digital. So this is going to be all the digital books in your New Pain catalog?
Yeah, that's everything. That's the 110-page Switch graphic novel, all the single issues that we've done of Daybreak and Microscopic. Kuda has another book in there. It's a lot of content.
Yeah, that's one hell of a bang for your buck too. We got t-shirt at 45 as well. This thing is gorgeous. 80 or more, you get the New Pain Universe. Man, I'm loving these tiers. Pledge 100 or more, and then you get a head sketch from the artist. So is he going to sketch anything that they want, or someone from Daybreak?
Anyone they want. I mean, it could be a Daybreak character if you want one, but anything that they want to have, he'll do.
Awesome. We got the Daybreak retailer tiers here. Some awesome tiers here, Keith. Oh, and we have some Keith variant cover art at 300 or more as well. So some awesome art. Even though I know you said you hate to do it, you can get a chance to own some of it for $300.
Yeah, that one there, that's by Daryl Banks that you just scrolled past.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, that's former Green Lantern artist Daryl Banks produced that pinup for us, and that's in the book as a pinup art. It's really nice colored.
And then is this the Joe St. Pierre?
No, that's the Stefan Toshev cover.
Okay.
The main cover A, with my inks. And then the original art for the original black and white art for the new cover will be available. We'll post up that finish on Wednesday. This is the Joe St. Pierre cover, which I inked, and I think it looks really very striking in black and white. I also think the colors up on that is beautiful. I didn't know who Dash Martin, the colorist, was, but Joe wanted to use them. It was great.
And then we have Tom coming in with a nude cover as well for 400 or more. Is that shown in this, or is that yet to be shown?
Nope, it's the sketched up cover up there, a couple of images up, this one here. So I'll replace that with his finished black and white art on one side.
I gotcha. Awesome tiers here. So Keith, you've been on the show before, you know the drill. For anyone who might be on the fence, what would you like to say to them to kind of help push them off that fence and get them to back this awesome book?
I mean, I've been in the comic book industry for 30 years. I've written so many comics, for Marvel and DC and IDW and Dynamite and pretty much everyone, Dark Horse. Daybreak is by far the most fun I've ever had writing a comic. So if you've liked anything I've ever done, I mean, this is, I guess, the ultimate Keith Champagne writing experience for a comic, which may not mean much to a lot of people, but I'm having a great time. I think I'm very hard on my work. I don't really like a lot of my own work, but I'm very proud of this book. I feel like this is really firing on all cylinders. It's really what I want it to be. And I think if you read the book, you're going to have just as much fun reading it as I'm having making it. So if that gets you off the fence, great. If it doesn't, hey, I get it. $10 is a lot for a single issue of a comic, a physical comic. I get it. But, give it a shot, and I think you'll dig it.
And absolutely, guys, if you have the opportunity, share it too, because that $10, you might have a friend or family member who would love to spend 20 or 40 on this series. This is an awesome series. I love it. I thought issue 2 was phenomenal. Can't wait to see what you do with issue 3. So with that being said, what's next for you in 2023? Do you have any other projects coming out? I know we were talking about Daybreak issue 4, in the future, but, before the end of the year, anything else coming out?
Well, for New Pain, which is the company, our company that we put Daybreak out through, our next project is going to be a little bit different. I think it's tentative for July. We're going to do a Keith Williams sketchbook. Keith Williams is a legendary inker from Marvel. He inked a lot of John Byrne stuff. He's worked with everybody, and the nicest guy you're ever going to meet. Keith and I do a lot of Comic Cons together, and we're usually sitting next to each other because people that work on shows think it's funny to have like a row of Keiths. So you get the good Keith Williams, and then you get me, Keith Champagne, and I really just adore the guy. And we got to talking, and I was like, Keith, why don't we do a sketchbook for you? Let's do something, collect a lot of, because he does so much stuff. He's drawing all the time. He loves to draw. And I think that'll be a really fun book for people that love the most loved man in comics. So we're going to put that out in July, and then there's another Switch book, a one-shot coming up, and there's two projects, one called The Defense, the other one called The Jump, which is going to be a double book, like a flip book, coming up, and then we'll have Daybreak 4 and 5 as a double-sided issue towards the end of the year.
Let's go. I love seeing a full slate like that, Keith. That's awesome. So, I mean, let's wrap things up on a strong note. You've been on a handful of times. We always love asking for a little bit of advice, but I want to ask something a little bit different. So for anyone out there looking, to just keep fresh with their writing, to keep hitting all those beats, with each new series, what would be something you would suggest to them or offer to them to help them kind of hit that mark?
Which mark are we talking about again?
Like just staying fresh with the writing, as someone who's been in the industry as long as you have, Daybreak issue 2 was phenomenal. For someone who's looking to stay fresh with their writing, what would you suggest for them to be able to do that?
So I think you always just gotta follow your imagination wherever it leads. Daybreak began with this germ idea, basically, which was like, what if a solar-powered hero, and Superman's the easy analog. What if Superman got cancer? And I was like, well, I like that idea. I'm not going to give that to DC. I'm going to keep that one for myself. But I think you got to follow your own muse. And even if an idea might seem stupid to other people, maybe there's something there that's worth developing further. I find for my own process, maybe this would help other people. It's good. I take in a lot of media, especially a lot of there are so many streaming shows these days, so many different genres and varieties of shows. And I try to, I'm lucky in that I have a job where I can always stream something in the background while I'm drawing. And I get to go through a lot of content. And I find that you pick up a lot of influences, a lot of storytelling tips and styles that you can then bring to your own work to try to keep it fresh and keep it evolving. But you should never, always just try to write the next thing better than the last thing. And like when I read Daybreak #1 now, as much as I'm really proud of that comic, I definitely like, oh, I could have tightened this dialogue up there. Oh, I could have done something different here. Oh, I missed a chance to do something here. And that's good. Like, to see your mistakes 6 or 8 months later is good because it just shows that you're growing.
And I think it's hilarious too that you mentioned you didn't want to give the idea to DC, because so many people out there probably, they're independent. They're like, I wish I could, but you literally had the opportunity to do that, and then you kept that idea and made it your own. So it's like you took your own advice and ran with it, and that's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I meet a lot of people at shows, and they're like, oh, I want to work for Marvel or DC. And that's great. Like it's a great job to have. But I tell people, like, listen, I worked for Marvel and DC for 30 years, and I've never had more fun than I'm having right now. Doing my own stuff, my own books. No one to tell me that I can't do something or I can't have Superman punch somebody or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm just free to tell stories the way I've always wanted to. And that's been tricky sometimes with these corporate comics, which, it's good to get paid to do them. Don't get me wrong. I still have to work for the bigger companies to make my primary living. But boy, the creative freedom on doing this stuff through Kickstarter. And also, an important point I make to people, You do your own book, you own it all yourself.
Hmm.
You control those rights, and that's a very important piece of the puzzle now in the way that the media landscape has evolved. So why would you want to give something to another publisher when there's a good chance you can get it up and running on your own?
Some awesome advice there, Keith. I appreciate that. Now, we do things a little differently. We end the show with what you're consuming outside of creating. So, I mean, you mentioned watching, or listening to shows in the background. What TV shows are you listening to, or what movies, like what books are you consuming?
So, right now I'm reading Alex Segura's Secret Identity for the second time, which is an amazing novel. Alex is a great writer, and he's a really sweetheart of a guy that I adore. And I got to read his book in galley form before it was published. And now it's going on to win different literary book group awards and things. So
Oh, wow.
it's time to revisit it. Succession on HBO, I love. Barry, I love. I churned through The Diplomat and Beef on Netflix over the past few weeks. The Mandalorian I thought was very spotty this season, but still watchable. Picard gave me so many nerd orgasms that I didn't know what to do with. For the third season. I loved Picard so much. It was everything that I wanted as a next gen fanboy. So much stuff, between doing cardio every day and working all day. I always have a show on in the background. So luckily there's so many shows to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I got something to check out. I keep hearing about Barry and Secession, so I think I'm eventually going to pull the trigger on those two and check them out. With that being said, guys, I have something you should check out, and that's Daybreak issue 3. Right here is the link to back it. One last time. That being said, it's time for us to wrap up. I hope you all have a lovely Monday, but most importantly, guys, keep it geeky.